Welcome to Campfire Wisdom. Grab a seat around the fire and tell us your story.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Campfire Wisdom. It is December 17th, and it just happens to be my older brother's birthday. So it's kind of a trip when you think about your older brother. He's 47, and this is a guy that I grew up with. And so it kind of really puts into context your entire life. Like, holy shit, my older brother is 3 years away from being 50. Where does that put me? So kind of an interesting thing. So definitely give a shout out to him. We kind of shared in our suffering for the Green Bay Packers. You know, they lost tonight to the Panthers, unfortunately. But um, I don't know. I'm not sure I really had much hope in them making it to the playoffs. After losing Rodgers, sometimes it takes the wind out of your sails, and everyone's like, "Oh, he's coming back, and great things are going to happen." But at the same time, sometimes you don't want to believe the hype, so I kind of guard myself against it. But a disappointment nonetheless, but that's okay. Not a big deal. There'll be more years to come, hopefully. And what a crazy week it's been. I know I've actually got a couple gems for you today. I will be sharing with you Campfire Wisdom from the end of October that we did right before they closed down one of the campsites in the Angeles National Forest. Pretty cool. But yeah, just kind of wanted to touch base with everyone about just net neutrality, um, just crazy shit going on. It's like, who in their right mind would want to turn that down? It's like, what greedy son of a bitch or sons of bitches out there don't see that that gets in the way of like communication and making sure that everybody can get the message and that everybody's informed and educated. And I don't know, in a time when you need more people to turn to like reliable places where they can actually get information free and not have to spend a lot of money. It's like, how can you even turn people away from that? How can you deny people that? It blows my mind. Um, our California state senator, I think his name is, I think it's David Weiner or Dan Weiner. I'm sorry, I can't remember who it is. Let me look it up here real quick. I don't want to. Scott Weiner. Jeez, that was way off. All right. So, anyways, Scott Weiner is um, he represents California Senate District 11, but um, he's kind of one of the progressives that's kind of taken on the whole net neutrality thing. But um, I followed him today on Twitter because he seems to be a guardian of net neutrality. So you should check him out. His name's Scott Weiner, kind of an interesting guy. But um, yeah, but I don't know who can wrap their heads around it. It's nuts. Um, I don't know if any of you guys also saw there's an article that came out earlier in the week about the Centers for Disease Control in releasing like um, some portions of their budget for the next year. They actually have words that are forbidden to use within the document itself. So this is going to absolutely blow your mind. The forbidden terms are vulnerable, entitlement, diversity, transgender, fetus, evidence based, and science based. Yeah, those are words that our government does not want to see in a budget plan from the CDC. That's insane. I mean, it's like, I don't know. It's just so apparent that the ideology of party movements and all that kind of stuff makes it into documents where it's like you're altering the printed word, you're altering the message, you're altering the truth. And I don't know. I'm not going to go to extremes in saying that we live in an authoritarian government or there's a regime or whatever, but it definitely does not bode well for those people who love liberty and at the same time don't want to have any constraints on what you can and can't say. It blows my mind. Um, I'll put a link for that article into the show notes. You got to check it out. And actually, I'll put something about Scott Wiener too. He deserves some kudos. So, sorry for calling you Dan. um, and I don't know if you guys have been staying up to date on the whole wildfire issue, but um, it has now burned 270,000 acres, and it is only 45% contained. When you think about that, they've been this fucking fire has been burning for weeks, and they don't even have half of it under control. I mean, that's uh, that's scary, but also a sign about the awesome power of nature. So thousands of homes have been affected. People have been, evacuating all kinds of stuff, but it's crazy. Also, I don't know if any of you guys have checked out Star Wars yet, but I've never done this before, but I'm actually going to see a 9 a.m. screening of Star Wars in IMAX 3D. So I'm going to see a movie at 9 in the morning. It's going to be fantastic. I don't think I've ever done anything that early. It'll be a total different perspective, but I got to work in the afternoon, and Geese is like, let's go see it in the morning. I'm like, great idea. So, gotta love her. It's a fucking great idea. Well, as everybody is keenly aware, this, podcast here is called Campfire Wisdom, and trying to do my best to get out and do some campfires. And I apologize that I haven't been able to do as many as I'd like to, but like I said, I will be releasing one today. There's going to be a double whammy. You're going to get a couple here up your alley. Yeah, trying to make some moves in establishing like a home base for the campfire. And I guess I'm kind of sharing this concept with you, maybe checking for any feedback, but at the same time, I'm kind of talking it out. So this is what I'm thinking. It'd be nice to have like um, a place where Campfire Wisdom exists, where it could be a destination place where I could invite people to partake. Maybe people could show up on their own accord, make it like an experiment, a dialogue, a conversation, such that the conversation isn't one way, it's two way, and at the same time, it could evolve. I think if you had that forum and that place where people could actually talk and share ideas and just kind of gather and relax and maybe ponder the different things that we're all trying to take on and accomplish in our own lives, I think that could be cool. So, the way that shows itself in my life right now is just being cognizant of like, okay, where could I get a piece of land uh, cheap, something that doesn't need to be developed? You could just throw a fire pit on it, get together, hang out, share some wisdom, share a campfire. And there's actually a lot of places. And I was actually surprised. The more, not, I mean, they're not like cheap, cheap, but at the same time, it's nothing that is so unreasonable that like a group of friends or people couldn't really put their heads together and knock out. So there'll be more discussion about that, and I'll share more with you as that goes on. But in doing some recent scouting, uh, came across this interesting guy, and I'm not gonna say his name or anything like that because uh, what he's doing is amazing. It's ballsy, and it's such a throwback to kind of everything that I'm talking about here. So the short and narrow of it is that in the area where we were looking at, there's tons of people. Obviously, there's people who have cabins, there's people who have houses, and when people buy pieces of land, you can do with it whatever you want, right? Well, this particular individual has lived off the grid for 8 years. And if you think about that, we're talking no bathroom, He does have generator power, so I guess he does have power periodically. But yeah, off the grid, on his own, he's built this house, and the house it looks like something out of Mad Max. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean it's absolutely resourceful. It's integrative of all the stuff that's around him using, you know, wood that exists in the environment there. There's a lot of oak that actually exists in that particular area. Um, he's also brought up his own materials. So he's got a 3-story cabin that he's made for himself. He's got chickens, he's got turkeys, he's got a pig, he's got a couple dogs. And was just blown away. So I think me and my buddy Al come across as like really friendly dudes. We're pretty outgoing and very welcoming of people, and I think people tend to get like, that energy of us, and they respond to us in kind. So I can't even tell you how many times it's been him and I, and we meet some dude, and we all end up hanging out. So needless to say, this gentleman who I had never met, Alex had met him once before, but he invites us. We were just telling him, yeah, we're up here just looking at land and blah blah blah. Chat a little bit. He's like, hey, why don't you come back to my place? So we hop in his car and we go down this road, and it's pretty treacherous. You need definitely a good, 4-wheel drive car to get down there. Um, we had barely made it in my buddy's car, but so we get to his place, and it's just like it's a fort. It's like when you're 12 years old and you take apart the cushions of your couch, you make a fort, and then you take a piece of wood and you put a clothespin on it and some a nail on the front and a rubber band, and you have like rubber band wars. It is like it's a throwback to those days when you just put things together. It's like a hodgepodge of all this different material from all around, and it is amazing. It's so cool. And I share that with you just because I'm here and I'm talking with you about like getting out and finding relaxation and getting off the grid and living in a more simple means. And this guy actually has done it. And to the extent he's done it is impressive. So, like I said, I'm not going to expose every single thing because I think it'd be fun to talk about. And I'll be totally honest. I'm going to approach him and see if he would like to come on the show and maybe talk about his journey um, in being off the grid. I think that's just such a cool thing. So, um, yeah, just to think about this guy living up there off the, it's like it might blows my mind. He uh, he has his own like business. He sells eggs and signs and does artwork and breeds dogs, and yeah, he's such a character, man. And again, I don't want to say too much because I want to protect his individuality and his liberty and all that stuff. So, um, yeah, and again, he may not want to even talk to me. Who knows? Maybe that's something coming our way. So I will be sure to let you guys know if that happens. So, well, guys, I think I'm going to keep it short here. Thanks so much for listening and being a part of Campfire Wisdom. Keep in mind my challenge to those of you who are checking us out. Send me an email, campfirewisdom@gmail.com. Tell me what you think, tell me what you love, tell me what you hate. First person that sends me a message that is not a friend or colleague or, you know, someone who I is knows about this, I will buy you a sleeping bag, and I'm going to buy you a nice one that you can actually camp with and use. And who knows, maybe we could camp together sometime in the future. That'd be fantastic. So I got something else that's going to be kind of cool. I'm going to be doing a camping essentials podcast here in the near future too. I think that's going to be kind of cool as we're in the winter, preparing for those cold camps, and also getting us back into the season when we can be out there more often. So, again, have a great one. Thanks again for joining me, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye bye.
Campfire Wisdom is brought to you from the hills of Rancho, Cucamonga. We'd like to thank the men and women that protect our national parks and forests. You make this journey possible. Theme music by Sean Cromwell.